another episode of Just Two Boys with Wahlid and Jasmeet. Just me and Wahlid. That's a little callback to the first episode.
Oh man, this is what we do a lot on this podcast. Is we call back to previous skits and sketches, so that you know that we're staying consistent with the content that's being put out.
Speaking about consistent,
speaking of consistent content.
We're block shooting this episode because
we
have our guest. It's very hard to get him.
It's very hard to get him. He's a very busy guy, especially now that
especially now
he's one of the party leaders of a big federal, not even, I was about to say provincial, a big federal party, one of the three major parties in Canada. He's the leader.
Don't give it away.
Don't give it away, yeah.
But the problem we're having is how do we block shoot and still come up with
how do
we still...
Okay, so what we can do is just kind of maybe vaguely go over some stuff.
Guess what happens.
Yeah. Let's guess what happens, but not get too much into it.
Right, exactly. So just, all right, I got it.
All right, cool.
Hang on. Yo, did you see what Trump said the other day?
Oh my God, I know. Donald Trump said that thing on Twitter.
I saw all over various news outlets. CNN, Fox.
Yeah, I saw Fox was agreeing with him and CNN was disagreeing with him. And then I saw Twitter. Twitter was an uproar.
Yeah, Twitter was roasting him, man. And
did you see that?
Get involved.
Did you see that one person of color on Twitter that has a lot of social influence when it comes to social justice? They spoke out against it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. Every man.
And did you see that one person that spoke in support of Trump, and he or she is a big advocate of Trump?
Oh, Baked Alaska?
Yes, Baked Alaska. Or Tommy Loren.
Oh, yes. Those two people also agreed and
they agreed.
Put in their 2 cents.
And they did. And they said, here, this is the reason why he said this, and this is why this makes sense. And everybody else is being a liberal cuck. It's crazy. Donald Trump said something crazy on Twitter.
Did you see that new trend on Twitter that's going all over around the world right now?
That hashtag.
Yeah. Did you see it?
It's a shame because that hashtag actually took over that one hashtag that was supporting that one cause.
Oh, yeah. For those kids.
Sure. It got a lot of donations for the kids and the terrible tragedy that happened to the kids. Jeez, I hope nothing really happens bad to kids because that would be really fucked up if we
if we guessed the future.
Or if because we guessed it that happened, we spoke it and then somehow we caused a tremor in time. Is that how time travel works? North Korea.
Again?
Yeah, they're just testing.
Oh my God!
They're testing the
thing,
the rockets.
They're tying the men to the rocket.
Yeah, sure.
Like cartoons. Did you also see the solar eclipse? No, that already happened.
Hey, did you see that meme?
Oh my God,
dude! How funny was that?
It was such a funny meme, and I hope everyone just keeps posting it. And
I really do.
And makes different renditions of the meme.
Different renditions.
I hope celebrities get involved.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love memes. I'm a sucker for memes.
I hope Vine picks up that meme and does it again. I'm hoping at this point.
Yeah, this one people will see.
That somebody pays for Vine again and it's brought back.
Hopefully we'll be rich and we can pay for Vine to be.
Yeah.
And we can post our own Vines.
Jaden Smith.
What do you do?
He's dressing up and he's going around. He said that thing and everyone's like, "Whoa,
he's woke.
He's woke.
He's so woke.
He's pretty woke for saying that."
Yo, he is, man. He's always that guy, that kid, man.
He's just because
you see his new season when his anime came out. Season 2.
Season 2 is out already. I swear, season 1 just came out.
I know, but we
really. Oh man, wait. What's the date? When are we putting this episode out? Why is it so late? I swear it's going to take another year and a half for another season to come out.
I don't know, man. He bumps them out quick.
Hey, I'm really sorry that your cat died. See, at this point, I'm hoping your cat isn't alive.
Fuck you, man. You know, fuck you sick fuck. Don't ever wish that on him.
Oh, man. Hey, I'm really happy for Zach being in that blockbuster Hollywood movie
starring Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Finally, man.
Zach Galifianakis. That's who I'm talking about, not Zach Fiona. Yeah, I'm really happy for Zach being in that movie with Jim Carrey and Jennifer Lawrence.
It's about time. And I can't believe you got to do that sex scene.
With Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence.
And you know what? He
has a girlfriend, too, and his girlfriend was like, yo.
Super cool with it.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it. And you know what? I watched that sex scene. I was watching Zach the whole time. That's how good his performance was. Not even Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, of course. Let me tell you.
Good for him. Yeah, there's that much distance between them when they were doing the sex scene, which is really weird because I feel like if you're having sex, you should probably be closer. But No, they kept their distance and they were respectful of each other and they bowed a lot.
I think we did pretty good with guessing what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think we
got the future covered. All right, guys. So the guest that we have today, I know we hyped him up a lot before, but literally, it's the crazy thing is that I've known this guy for a really long time. And
Me too.
And I've what?
Yeah.
When?
We go way back, me and this guest.
How
Yeah,
long?
man.
How many years?
It's like 11.
That's pretty much the same time I've known him
Oh,
for.
word! Yeah, he never talks about you. Sucks.
That's funny that he never brought you up, nor did he ever bring you up when we got to know each other.
Yeah, he's very reserved and private about our friendship. But go ahead. I mean, introduce.
That's also really funny because I feel like when we were at my cousin's wedding, he went up to me and was like, "Hey, Wahlid, nice to meet you."
Yeah, this is a little inside joke we do together. It's funny, man. He's jokes sometimes, man. He's really funny. But I mean, go ahead. Introduce him to the audience.
Huh. Okay. Well, anyways, so I've known this guy for years. He's a good friend of mine. He's like my older brother.
Hey, me too. He's one of my older brothers. Love him.
You don't know him. You just met him. You literally just met him like a month, not even a month ago.
No, I told you 11 years, bro. He helped me through the hardest times, man.
When? Where?
With my
How?
Heroin addiction. He really.
Heroin? What?
Yeah, man. How do you think I'm so skinny?
I thought you just said you run a lot
To eat ice cream.
to eat ice cream, which cancels out the running.
Nah, man.
Oh, I didn't know about your heroin addiction.
Yeah, it was bad, man. It was bad. But luckily this guest who we have on the show today really helped me out.
Okay, cool.
It got me.
Sure. Anyway, so I've known him for a really long time, and it's interesting now that he's like at such a high position that it's harder for me to hang out with him because I have to like schedule him.
Same. It's so hard for me to get through his assistant, but I just want to be like the good old times.
Do you even have his number?
No, shit. I have his WhatsApp.
So that's his number.
Oh, I thought WhatsApp was like an app.
No, you still need your number to use WhatsApp.
Oh, sorry, I don't know how to use it. Sorry, I don't know how to use your guys' social media platform.
Do Americans not use WhatsApp?
No, not at all.
How do you guys do group chats?
iMessage.
Ew. You can't. Have you heard voice notes on iMessage?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it was recorded off the first ever microphone that was ever invented by Alexander Graham Bell, who was a Canadian, invented the telephone.
The microphone is still the same because you're recording it on the iPhone.
Yeah, but for some reason they make it shit. Why are we even talking about this? Shut up. Let me just introduce the guest. Anyways, it's so interesting because it's so hard to schedule him now because he's such a busy guy.
Yep.
And I had to go through his assistants and all these other people
too.
when before I could just hit him up one-to-one, but I'm like, I understand now because he is like not even a free guy. He has to like run a big political party in Canada. So it's just.
So we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. And then after that, we'll have my best friend going up on the show. Bye.
You don't. Why the fuck are you saying you know him?
I do know him. Oh, we go way back. Look at this picture. Look, this is me and Jagmeet.
That's me. You just showing me a picture.
Oh,
Wait,
that's
no, wait.
who I'm getting confused with.
You didn't just confuse me and Jagmeet.
My bad. Anyways,
Like
guys,
how literally so many other news and media outlets have confused me and Jagmeet. You didn't just do that to me, did you?
we're going to cut to a quick...
You confused me. All right, guys, here we are, just two boys with the third boy here, Jagmeet Singh, the future prime minister.
By the time this episode comes out, he will be the prime minister.
The future prime minister of the United States of Canada. And I am so excited. Thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for taking your time out.
It's an incredible honor. For the record, I just had knee surgery yesterday.
You did. And you're walking around with a limp.
And I'm here for you.
This is you're stupid.
You know, you mean so much to me, and I didn't want to bail out on this.
Yo, I get it, but you're kind of an idiot, man.
Yeah, you're on drugs and stuff. We could probably get him to say whatever we want.
Didn't they say the doctor told you can't do any driving or walking or anything for 24 hours? A, it hasn't been 24 hours. B, you can't talk or use mental state for 48 hours because you're kind of, I don't know what's going on with you.
No, the actual thing is...
When did you do the surgery? This morning.
No, it was yesterday at about 10 or 11. So I'm okay on the 24 hours. So 24 hours, no driving.
Yeah.
I'm okay on that.
Yeah.
And the second thing was 48 hours, no serious decisions, no major decisions.
Oopsie.
So
good thing this podcast isn't that serious, and you don't have to make any crazy decisions on here.
Then we're all right.
Except for Wahlid, before we start, we just want to make sure.
Right.
You know, Jagmeet, I hate to do this to you.
Okay.
You know, we've known each other for probably like 15 years now.
I don't know. It's been a long time. At least 15 years.
And I feel like I know you pretty well.
Yeah.
But then I came across these pictures and I was like, how well do I really know Jagmeet? And it was actually Wahlid that kind of brought this to my attention.
Okay.
So it could be just him manipulating me like he always does.
I mean, I'm just personally excited, to have a future prime minister on, just because it sure would be a damn shame if these pictures were to leak, huh?
Wait, are you?
What are these pictures?
Just a couple of.
What did you like to know, huh?
Just a couple of things that we want to clear up before you actually enter the office.
How does everyone feel about Jagmeet eating a pineapple pizza? Huh? How does that? What do you have to say about that?
I like pineapple.
Pineapple, huh?
I don't know how legit that I wouldn't have had a pineapple pizza in my hand while I was doing that speech, but.
I mean, pineapples, right?
Yeah.
Where do pineapples come from? Hawaii.
Right.
What is Hawaii doing? ExxonMobil. Are you in bed with ExxonMobil?
No.
Answer the damn question, Jagmeet.
I'm not.
Sure would be a shame if this picture were to leak.
Now, this is something that really kind of upset me when I saw it. You're posing here with a stormtrooper. Do you denounce the leader of the dark side, Darth Vader himself?
Well, I think it's important to know that it's all one force. Even the dark side of the force is a part of the force.
Listen, there's a direct question that I asked you. I don't want you dip dancing and
Sure.
lead the
Yeah,
around
nice
this
try.
question. Nice try.
You're
Yeah,
dumb,
we get it. Listen, Darth Vader.
Well, there's not really a conflict between the Sith and the Jedi. It's actually all one force. And we see in some of the episodes, Darth Vader actually ended up saving the people.
Cut your tiptoeing dilly-dallying. I asked you a direct question. Now, the Imperial officers, some of the stormtroopers, they put up pictures of Lord Vader as one of the leaders of their cause, or a martyr, And so do you denounce Lord Vader's help? This is a question I'm asking.
Well, Lord Vader actually ended up saving the galaxy. I mean, I denounced the violence. I denounced.
All right, this is the third time I'm asking this question, Jagmeet, and I want to ask you this very clearly again.
You think we're dumb, Jagmeet?
Yeah. Do you denounce Lord Vader himself? I want to hear it directly from you.
Well, Lord Vader actually ended up helping Luke Skywalker when he was fighting against the Emperor. So Lord Vader actually saved his son. He actually he helped out. He helped out the people.
Okay, that's kind of backward. I didn't know he watched Star Wars.
Yeah,
So
I didn't know he was a big Star Wars fan.
Shit. Okay, just go to the next picture.
Right. I just think it's funny how you have a son,
Jagmeet Singh, Prime Minister, has a secret son.
Can we show this?
Can we show
closer? Just show in front of the camera.
Chaps, can we get this? Can we also get this imprinted on this? Jagmeet, now you're.
Show to that camera.
This is obviously Jagmeet's son. It looks exactly to a T like Jagmeet. Where's this son of yours, Jagmeet?
Why is he never around?
This is clearly photoshopped. It's so good.
Is it?
It's so good.
He looks
so funny.
exactly like you.
Oh man, I did not expect that.
Wait, hold on. Just close your ears. When you photoshopped this, did you not think maybe I should not use the exact same face?
I don't know.
At least pick a different
I
picture.
just wanted a kid to look kind of like
You just
him.
inverted his face and planted it on a random kid. Okay, hopefully this one's good. Fourth picture, Jagmeet. We're not letting you off the hook so easily.
All right. What do you got?
Jagmeet, more like Santa Claus.
You got me. You got me. I'm Santa
That's
Claus.
right. I want 5 visas. This is a dumb bit. We're very sorry. We had fun.
Honestly, this was all Wahlid's idea. I just tried to play along with him because he was crying over something, upset about something.
No, it was a nice effort. I mean, I appreciate that. It was
comedy subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good effort at least.
I needed to cheer him up. I was jangling keys in front of his face, and usually that works, but that didn't happen. So I said I'd go along with this dumb bit for you. But I do know you, Jagmeet. We do know each other. We've known each other for a really long time.
For sure we do.
And the thing that I think the reason we got along really well is that we have in some cases we have a similar upbringing in terms of we grew up. We call each other small town Sikhs.
That's right.
That's a term that I think you made up. So what that means is essentially Punjabi or Sikh people that grew up outside of the greater Toronto area.
That's right.
The GTA.
That's right.
And we faced a lot of a similar struggle. You probably had it way worse than I did. You did.
I had it rough. I mean, I had a beautiful, I have to say, I grew up in a small town that was beautiful. It was awesome. I had great memories. But it was also kind of rough. Kids were pretty mean. And I used to get in a lot of scraps, a lot of fights.
Yeah.
And I had to defend myself. And I always felt like it wasn't the solution. How do you get people to win them over, to kind of connect with them, it can't be through just having to deal with fights all the time. So I always wanted to find a better way to deal with these conflicts.
Yeah, where'd you grow up?
Yeah. So I was born in Scarborough, Toronto.
Yeah.
Shout outs to the 6th side.
Norm Kelly. That's the only Scarborough man I know.
Yeah. He actually sent me a DM and he said, "Hey, another Scarborough boy did all right."
Yeah.
It was kind of cute. Thank you for that. That was nice. Then I lived in St. John's, Newfoundland, Labrador for about 5 years. It's where I learned how to swim, ride a bike, and throw a snowball, in fact.
Wow.
And
I mean, it's not that hard to throw a snowball.
I just say that. It sounds cute. But I did, actually. It's the first time I threw one. And then I grew up, most of my childhood was in Windsor, Ontario.
Yeah. And so even he grew up in like a small town as well.
Yeah, I actually grew up in that. It's not small, but I mean, it's pretty Caucasian. Orange County. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, of course. OC.
Yeah.
That's not pretty Caucasian. That's really Caucasian.
Yeah, it's very Caucasian, but now, I mean, it's getting...
That's as Caucasian as you get. You know that, right?
It is. I'm basically just a white brown dude.
Yeah.
Any specific encounters with racism growing up that you remember? Like traumatizing? Give me the good stuff. Give me the
traumatizing stuff.
So I don't feel bad about my shit.
No, I mean, I was like surrounded by a bunch of guys. They like held me up against a fence and started like punching me and saying like, get out of here. You don't belong here.
Yeah, me and you both. Huh?
Yeah. But I was pretty tough. So I took the punches and I'm like, yeah, that's all you got. And then they kept on going.
Whoa, like Karate Kid?
I was a pretty reckless kid.
Even my final form.
Can you imagine if you became, do you think like those kids beating you up, seeing you as prime minister, you'd be like, damn.
Yeah.
We beat up.
Yeah, they'll be like, yeah, whatever. He may be prime minister, but we beat him up.
How did your mind shift? I guess from fighting to what happened there.
So for me, one of the things that was a big part of who I was to try to be the best at everything I did. So academics, I excelled at it. I was really good at school. I was really good in sports. So I really excelled in everything I could. That was my way of kind of compensating for being made to feel like I didn't belong or there's something wrong with me. So I tried to just push myself harder. I would train all the time. I was always working out. As a kid, I was always ripped. Yeah. And it was because I was always working out. I was always trying to find ways to make myself stronger physically, mentally. And martial arts became a big outlet for me. So I pursued that and I was pretty tough.
So that was your outlet.
Yeah. Martial arts, physical activity, and academics. So I poured myself into that.
Yeah.
And then at some point though, when I was, having to defend myself and I had to like portray a certain confident, almost aggression to insulate myself from people wanting to fight with me. Like if you carry yourself a certain way, you can kind of discourage someone from wanting to be rude to you or maybe act in a way that's racist if you come across as someone who's not to be messed with.
Yeah.
But then at one point I realized that wasn't a sustainable thing to do. Like I didn't want to fight everyone. It wasn't something that made sense to me. It didn't feel right. I actually cared about people and I wanted to win people over. I didn't want to have to always deal with these physical confrontations. So at one point I started thinking like, how can I just win people over? And so subtly I realized, I didn't do this consciously, but I started finding ways to disarm people. And for me, it wasn't through humor because I was never really funny. I'm not funny now either. But for me, it was...
Let's make this very clear.
Jimmy, we spent a lot of time together. There's times, even Bubba can attest to this, where you've like cracked some jokes and me and Bubba both looked at each other like, Jimmy, listen, man, there's a lot of things that you're good at. A million things. Comedy is one thing that... Maybe just leave it to us. We'll ghostwrite your jokes, and then you can do whatever.
Probably I need to do that. So that was the reality. I was not. I was never funny. So for me, I started finding ways to connect with people and finding connections with people who you would think would have nothing in common. I found those connections, and that for me was my way of engaging people, finding the similarities that we all share. That we're maybe different people, come from different walks of life, different experiences, but there's this commonality. There's this common thread that unites us, and I would find that in people I meet, and they'd find a way to feel like, hey, you know what, this is a cool guy. Like I feel like I'm drawn to him.
And this is also another reason why you're better than us. Literally, like we resorted to be like, hoo hoo hee hee hee, oh, you make jokes, pop. I'm gonna be a class clown. And I was like, we kind of like this guy because he's funny. Let's keep him around us.
Make more jokes.
Hey, dance, come on, ha ha ha. But yeah, we resorted to comedy. I know a lot of comedians become comedians because they've been through some like weird shit, and then they become comedians out of those dark times.
To cheer themselves up.
Right, but you are way better because you're actually creating some sort of change on a bigger scale, as opposed to us just like cracking jokes, haha. People just like leaving their mind for
a split
I wouldn't underestimate how powerful comedy is. Though.
Right.
It helps a lot. That's true, man.
You're changing the world.
No, you're like uplifting so many people. I actually come across many people that actually say to me literally, that they learned about me through JASMEET and then Just Rain, and that you have actually made people like in their times of sadness, times of loneliness, have given them like hope in their lives. Like I met a guy, I'll tell you this guy, legit, a Filipino guy was living in Germany and he was homesick. And what made him not feel homesick was watching your stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dope. So that's what I'm saying. Like we've had this conversation before. It was like, even though we're in a different, we're still kind of striving for the same purpose or the same goal when it comes to bringing awareness to not only just our community, but just like kind of getting shitty people or shitty situations and bringing light to them, being like, yo, this is not a way you can look at this. Because even when people have come up to us and been like, yo, I've learned a lot about you guys, or even when people have come up to me be like, hey, we realize that like you guys are just like us, like you're normal, like, you know, things like that. And it's
true.
Like, and you being on cover of magazines and just being like the sexy piece of meat hunk
Yo,
that
this
you are.
guy's a snack,
And
bro.
honestly, yo, I started dressing better, and like 16-year-old me, when I met you, I started dressing better. I started walking straight to look good as well. Yeah,
it's so important. What you have to do is there's a confidence that you feel inside, and we have to kind of manifest that in the way we look and the way people see us. I think that it's something that people of color, racialized people, we can't afford not to look good. We can't afford not to look our best. There's always negative stereotypes that exist, and we have to use kind of clothing as a way of communicating our disruption of those negative stereotypes.
Absolutely.
I say that clothing for me, like, it's not that I love fashion. For me, I look at it as social armor. So you go out into the world and you're being hit with negativity, negative stereotypes, you know, myths, you know, preconceived notions. And so your clothing can act as a way to dispel some of that, insulate you from some of that negativity, and maybe disrupt some people's preconceived notions.
Totally. Wow. That's like I was just like, oh, if you dress good and you look good, then people are going to say nice things. And then you go, ha ha, they're going to like me better in my jokes. Ding, ding, doo, doo. So that's just how I would say it. Ha. Man,
it means a lot, man. It really means a lot.
I'm gonna probably
a bunch of times, and no, seriously, man, it means a lot to me. Whenever you tell me this, I feel really like my heart is warm. Thank you.
I think those racist encounters that you had in the past now equip you to deal with some of the things that are being thrown at you now. One is which I keep seeing this headline about: are you gonna win people in Quebec over? What does that even mean? Even I'm like unsure about that. Like, is Quebec racist? Like, what's going on?
No, so you know, the thing is, there's a lot of Quebec bashing. It's funny because people ask the question, framing it as if Quebec is in some way, you know, less open or less accepting. And it's not my experience. I go to Montreal. I go to you know, some of they call them régions, like the regions, the kind of outside of the suburbs of Quebec, rural communities. And I found that people of Quebec to be very open-minded, very progressive. I got a quick story for you.
Yeah.
I went to the city 5 hours north of Montreal. This is like in the heartland of Quebec. Yeah. Like this is like in the center.
Yeah.
And
as Quebec as it gets.
Like as Quebec as it gets. Yeah. There was not a person.
This is, by the way.
Quebec is just, it's like France in Canada.
Oh, okay. That's like a pretty fair description. It's pretty accurate. So in Quebec, in the province of Quebec, there is a city or region that I went to called Lac-Saint-Jean. And literally 5 hours north of Montreal, this major city, 2 hours north of the capital, like we're in the heart. There's not a single person that speaks English out there. And I went into that community and people are like, oh, you're not going to do well in Quebec. You're not going to be able to connect with people. And I said, you know what? That's not my experience. I believe in the people of Quebec. They're open-hearted, open-minded. And they ran a story on me in this small region.
Ooh. Yeah, so we got this here.
I got the front page.
Oh, wow.
This is like a small town in the middle of Quebec. They did a front page, and look what it says here. It says, Jagmeet Singh, en défenseur du français.
Okay, what does that mean? Because I stopped French in grade 9.
Yeah,
I probably should have, and I cheated half.
En défenseur means like in defense of, that I'm defending the French language, that I'm out there because I really believe in the language. And then if you open it up, it's pretty cool.
You believe in language because you literally can speak probably a bit of every single language ever invented by
the first time I met this guy, he just started speaking Farsi to me, and I was like, oh god.
I've been to parties with this guy. Where just me and you. And like, there's like one of the greeters is like a woman. She like greets as she enters, and she's like Croatian or something like that, right? And then she like says her name like Sylvia. I don't know what a Croatian name is, right? And Jim's like, oh, you're Croatian. And she's like, oh my. How did you know? That's not even a Croatian accent. I'm sorry to all our Croatian viewers. And Jagmeet's like, and he's like, sorry once again to all Croatian people.
Kakusi.
Right. So he's just
That's how are you?
You like meet. This happened like so many times where you meet people and you just like are like, oh, this is your background, and then you start speaking their language, and I'm like, yo, how does this guy know everything? Ever, like, you know all the languages, so you're here defending French. So this is why I'm saying, like, you are a big advocate for languages.
100%.
Because I've seen this.
I celebrate the language; it's super important. And then they got me up here saying "sing charismatique," which is sing is charismatic. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. And right here, if you see this picture, I really love this picture a lot. My turban is touching this gentleman's forehead, and I said in French, I said to him, "My turban is touching your head," and then he smiled. He's like, "I like it." I'm like, I do too.
What?
It was pretty cute. We had a cute moment. And this guy's probably never seen, he's never seen a turban man in his life. Yeah. And we connected. We had this bond. There's a picture of it. It's a beautiful thing.
That is very beautiful.
No? What do you think?
Is Quebec proving to be a challenge for you, or like, how's your mindset going into this?
No, Quebec's fine. Quebec's a beautiful place. We're going to do really well there. I'm going to continue to talk about the issues that matter to people in Quebec. And I literally love the language. And I feel like if you love someone's language, you get to understand a bit of their culture, their identity, what makes them who they are. Yeah. And that's why I take the time to learn other languages. It's a way of saying, hey, I respect who you are, where you come from. Like, we do the same idea that we talk about the importance of every human being, wherever you come from, to celebrate who you are, to celebrate your uniqueness, whatever you bring to the world. There's something uniquely special about whoever you are individually. And I think it's so important.
Damn, I think you just won over Quebec on our podcast. Wow.
Just two boys.
We should do a whole podcast in French.
No, deux garçons.
Yeah, me and Wahlid were actually talking about signing up for like Skype French lessons.
Yeah, do it.
And that like 90% of the reason is because of you. Like, we just watch you doing speeches. Like, this guy, he can't be the only one that knows French. Half the reasons why I try to be like you is just because I'm like, yo, he can't. He's excelling, and I need to. I'm falling behind. Let's say you win Prime Minister.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah.
Trump comes in for another term.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
You have to meet with Trump.
Oh my God, it already sounds like a bad scenario.
You have to.
Yeah. Hang on. What do you think about him?
I mean, it's pretty obvious. He is trouble, man. This is like uncharted territory. We have someone that's just dividing the population, using the office that's such a respected office to see discontent and division, and his messages have been xenophobic, misogynistic, Islamophobic, just really hurtful messages he put out, and in a position of incredible power. It's something that's really troubling.
So what are you gonna do? You walk into a room and you have to shake hands with Donald Trump, and he does that famous
get one of those. Remember the
well, he won't be able to do that on me. If I put one of the buzzer things on my head. No, I mean, I'm good with my balance, so I'll be all right with the pull.
I'd be so nervous.
I don't know what I would do. Like, if I was Prime Minister and I had to walk in and meet Trump, like, what do I'm carrying my country's back on my shoulders.
Yeah, I'd be crop dusting that room so bad if I was there.
I would approach the situation with a hopeful optimism. You always have to be optimistic, and you can create a positive outcome. So I'd be optimistic. I would stand up to something I don't agree with. So if he's put out a policy that I don't agree with, I wouldn't just try to appease him and agree with it. I'd say, listen, I don't think it's a good policy. I don't agree with you, right? So I'd
stand up. You would go in and just clothesline him?
No, I think
just deck him.
No. I mean, I would try to keep an open mind, but stay strong in what I believe in, my convictions, my principles. Optimistic, but at the same time, not backing down from my principles and my values, and always knowing that I have to represent the interests of Canada first and foremost.
Right.
What if they become best friends?
What if you like him?
I'm open-minded. I find it hard to believe, given what he's put forward as his values, that I would be able to connect with those. But
what if you change him? What if you convert him? What if you
Well, if I can get him to think in a more positive way to build a better world, then I would have done something good.
Let's just pray that he's not president by 2020. At least for my sake.
He's not allowed back in the country. That's why he's still here.
Oh no.
Yeah, he got deported.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's okay. welcome here. Hey, welcome to Canada, man.
So, I mean, I want to get your insight into. I did this tweet the other day where I was like, "Yo, Punjabi people we're really doing it now. You know what I mean? Like,
You
it's
got
like,
Nav.
yeah, it's not even a joke anymore. And we come from a generation where we didn't have like people in these positions of power or influence that could guide us into kind of pursuing what we want to do. We were the guys, especially you, that kind of like just karate chopped their way into these positions now. And I mean, I was having this thought where it's like, yo, these kids that are growing up in this generation, this is like normal to them now.
Yeah,
To
how
see
crazy
sick
is
people in this, like, or just like people of color in these positions. This is, especially people from our community, this is normal for them now. You know what I mean?
Think about it this way: people, when the first generation of new Canadians or new immigrants come to a country, their goal is survival. They're just trying to survive. And then the second generation has the opportunity to thrive. So you move from survival to thriving. And that's what we're doing now, having built on the incredible journey of our parents. If you really think about it, like, it's unreal. You leave everything you know.
I couldn't do it.
I can't
like,
even
my parents
imagine
came in
it.
their 20s. I'm like, if I had to up and leave a different country and settle there, speak a learn a new language.
Brand new language. And it's not like a language that you have some sort of connection with. Like, you know, it's the same script or something. It's completely different from what you've learned your whole life.
Yeah.
You know, society is different. The norms are different.
Yeah.
You come to this brand new place and you try to build a life for yourself. So you're just struggling to survive. And then the beauty of that moment is now the youth or the next generation are taking that opportunity now to say, okay, listen, how do we thrive now? And then you're seeing people that are not just thinking about, sometimes you think just being practical, okay, I'm going to get a job and just, you know, work in a particular field. But instead of that, you have people who are creating stuff, people who are using their artistic talents, their musical talents, their comedy, things like, you know, things that you, no, but you're more than just, you're creating, you know, a culture, you're creating a vibe, you're telling stories, you're doing a lot. And so you're helping to show that we can thrive. Thank you. Thank you.
And
So much pressure.
us just being, I mean, people like us just being in the positions that we are, that are entering these different industries where, like, no, I keep saying Punjabi, but I know he's not Punjabi, but I just mean, I guess, brown
Punjabi,
people.
bro. What are you saying, bro?
I mean, we're in these positions now, and then there's kids. I mean, I think half of the battles that we're showing these kids, like, yo, it's possible, dude, because A, we're here, and B, what is like a message that you have to give to, I guess, the youth right now that are like, yo, I want to pursue something that isn't necessarily what my parents are telling me to do. Like, what?
Well, I mean, you need to pursue. You're only going to be your best self if you pursue something that's authentically you. So if you have a draw or an interest in a particular field, if you pour yourself into that field, that's where you're going to be the best you. And that's the best that you can offer to anybody, to your partner, to your parents. You can be the best you. And that's kind of what it takes a lot of guts though to do that. It's tough to do, but you'll be the most happy. It's a rewarding thing to do. For me, it was difficult too. Like I was trying to figure out where I fit in and where I would be most able to, you know, flourish as a human being.
How long did it take you to figure that out?
A long time. I resisted it for a while.
Was there like a backup plan?
What do you mean you resisted it?
Okay, I'll tell you the real deal. So I was in law school, and I was offered to do some fights, professional fights, and I'd been, you know, competing amateur. I loved martial arts, and for me, one of my dreams was to become a professional fighter.
You're a good fighter.
I'm all right. I'm pretty good.
You're pretty.
Whatever. Hey, let's go outside.
You can kick ass. This is how I know you're a good fighter, because I've had people. We did a video a while back where the first time you ran in politics, and it's a video of probably like 20 or 21 in this video, and this is like where I interview you.
That's right.
And so I have all these media companies that are always reaching out and be like, "Hey, can we like license a bit of this video for you know our publication or whatever?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Which part? Like which part of the interview? Which question?" And they always want the part where you're kicking my ass. Crotch is here. Crotch.
Well, I was legit a champion in amateur fighting in the GTA submission grappling for about 5 years. So I was pretty legit for a bit of time. And I wanted to pursue it, go further, because I was still amateur. I wanted to go professional. That was something that I wanted to do. Then I was enjoying being a lawyer, so I was kind of happy with that. And that was something I thought would fit into my life vision. And then I got encouraged by Guratin, my brother, and Amneet actually to get into politics.
Amneet, my cousin, our cousin.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess.
Cousin
Amneet.
Yeah. So they encouraged me. And then for 2 years while I was a politician, I wasn't really happy with it. I thought that it wasn't the right fit for me.
It's tough, man.
It's a tough world. Yeah.
I look at you and I've
yeah, but it's, you know what it is? The fighter mentality.
Exactly. And that's where I think you were gonna thrive, because it's like you don't back down when it comes to you haven't budged. I've never seen you budge. And this is another one of my concerns. I'm like, yo, when this guy becomes like this huge politician, is he gonna have to like compromise? You have not composed yet.
Yeah, I like to be true to who I am, and that's one of the things that I've not backed down on.
Politicians don't do. This is why I don't trust any politicians, but I trust you as a human being. And it's like, are you scared of that? Like, are you scared that you're gonna have to get to a position where you're gonna have to compromise something?
That's a really fair question. I've always been able to find a way to stay true to whatever I believe in. And whatever the issue is, whatever the conflict is, I've always tried to find a way that I can address it in a way that's authentic. I've always said that if I can't, then I'd rather lose support than to do something that's not authentic to who I am. And I'm hoping I can stick with that.
That's what. Remember that one time we went to a Raptors game and we were hanging out with rich uncles, and there was one rich uncle that when we were having dinner with them, they looked at you and was like, hey, Jagmeet, I need to. If I sit down with you for 30 minutes and convince you ran for the wrong party, you need to be a conservative party. And you had a 30-minute conversation with them. I was right there. This is a real story. I watched this happen. And this guy was so adamant about converting you to become a conservative. But after that 30-minute call, it wasn't even 30, it was like 20 minutes. He was like, by the end of the conversation, he's like, Cello, what can I say, man? I guess you're right. I don't know. And I was like, yo, how did you? This guy's a multi-billionaire, and within the scope of like 20-minute conversation during the halftime of the Raptors game, you managed to. And then that was like, I've seen a lot of these moments when I've gone with you in public places where we've interacted with people where I'm like, I'm just watching. I'm like, how does he do this? Like, I can't do this. Like, I don't know how you are able to like, even case in point being Quebec, like the way you're shifting and moving whatever Quebec's years and years of their opinions.
Does it really surprise you though? Look at his face. Look how just like handsome. Like I trust.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
If I had a daughter, right? She grew up. She was ready to get married. I'd give you my daughter.
That's an incredible honor. There.
Yeah, but that's one of the things. Like you have that power to like really, understand somebody else's perspective, which is so hard which is like step one, I think. For
I think absolutely.
It's like you need to really get in the shoes. Be like, yo, why do these people think the way they think? And I think you're gonna do that with Donald Trump. if that happens. And then B, you're able to have a conversation with at the end of it, you guys aren't in a shouting match, but even if they're like still hold on to whatever they believe, they're like, you know what, I still see your side and I support you in your decision and to be like this, and like I get it. And like that's one of the reasons why I'm honestly not surprised where you are, and I'm not surprised where you're probably most likely going to get to where you get and do what you're going to do.
Well, thank you.
And I've never seen that in a human being. Like I'm a very
man, you're just touching got me all my feels, man.
I'm a cynical comic. I'm a cynical comic. I don't believe like, you know, I'm like, you know, there's got to be some sort of bad in some people. I mean, this guy, you know, like I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like I think that's where you're truly going to thrive. And like,
thank you, man.
You know,
thank you.
Yeah, one thing I think really helped with the last push of you kind of getting the really, really big coverage and people really get to know what kind of dude you are was that one viral video. What was it, like a town hall?
It was a Jagmeet and greet, in fact.
Jagmeet and greet, right.
Yeah.
Clever name.
Clever.
Also, you took that from me. I want to do Jagmeet and greets, but now if I do it, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, he goes, this guy. He just wants to be like Jagmeet so bad." Yeah, I think that was one thing that really kind of put you into like a huge viral. Like people from like all over the world were like, "Whoa, this guy! Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Oh my god!"
We know you're in bed with Sharia. We know you're in bed with the Muslim Brotherhood. Immediately, I would like to know. Call the police.
So just 1 second. Let's just. What do we believe in? We believe in love and courage, right? Love and courage. Love and courage.
And the motto of like love and courage, which is also within like I guess Sikh spirituality as well. Nidbo nidvad, without fear, without hate. Yeah, I went to Sikh camp. Was good. But explain the concept of love and courage.
Sure. Well, it's more than just a slogan. We developed it as a slogan for the campaign, but it was more than that because it's really my life principle. It's kind of what guides me in what I do day to day. The love comes from, my mom always said to me that we're all connected, that we're all in this together. If you see someone around you that's not doing well, you know, we're not doing well. If we lift the people around us, we all rise together, this idea. And then courage is, kind of that spirit that I've always had, that, against the odds, never backing down, never giving up. Things might be tough, but I'm not fazed by that. So that courage, that will to demand better, dream bigger. And so when I was faced with that person that was interrupting me, I didn't want that negativity to ruin this Jagmeet and greet, this positive event. So I wanted to respond in a way that said, listen, we're not afraid of negativity, and we're going to combat, or we're going to tackle negativity and hate with love. I'm going to be loving. We're going to respect people. We're going to be open-hearted and kind as a way to challenge. And in fact, the person ended up leaving on their own. We didn't have to call security.
Yeah.
We didn't have to actually have the person removed. By
Get him out of
here. By responding with that loving and courageous kind of response, it was a way of de-escalating the situation. So that's, for me, it's my ethos, love and courage.
All right, Jagmeet, thanks so much for coming on the podcast, man. I know this is a really busy time for you, but man, you made time for us. That's awesome.
Hey, listen, not only did I make time for you, I want you to know, I literally was under the knife yesterday.
Yo, literally.
I was literally, like, my knee was sliced and diced.
Yeah.
I can barely walk.
Yeah.
But I was here for both of you.
It's true. You're just.
I wanted to be here for you. I wanted. This is an important thing for me. I want to support you, and we got history, man. We go back.
We do go back, and hopefully we go forward as well.
It's good.
It was the dumbest thing I've ever said in my life, but this is great, man. I mean, we've known each other for over 10 years, and like we're at this point now, and it's so cool to see us in these spaces, and like even like 10 years, 20 years from now, I'm excited to see where you head out, and
I'm excited for you, man. Both of you. I'm excited to see where you guys end up.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jagmeet. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking time.
My pleasure, man.
Jagmeet Singh, guys, make sure you follow him on YouTube and subscribe to his links and tweet him and
all
like his pictures.
All that good stuff.